Hi everyone, how are you guys tonight? You guys are live here on the Dixie Belle Paint Facebook and Instagram page. My name is Brandy. I am with Brushed by Brandy, and I'm a Dixie Belle Paint brand ambassador, and I paint here live with you guys every Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. My husband Sean is here behind me, in front of me, behind you guys, to help me answer questions. So as we go, feel free to pop on and ask any questions that you guys might have. I hope you guys have a lot of questions tonight. They always make the night more interesting. And tonight we're going to be talking about mixing colors. So I'm going to ask you guys right up front if you have color or custom color mixes that you've been curious to try. And what I plan to do tonight is I've got a few favorite color mixes that I do quite a bit, and we're going to mix colors, and we're going to talk a whole lot about how the Dixie Belle Paint colors mix, how to eyeball a color when there's something that you want to match, how to change colors when they're not quite right. So we're going to talk a whole bunch about that. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the Fandex. So where I start when I'm mixing a custom color is I will start with either what color am I trying to get to, or I'll take the color that I've got and what do I need to adjust about it that's not quite right. So I actually carry, the Dixie Belle Fandex are these here, and they're true to color. So I actually carry one of these in my purse. Yes, Sean called me on it this last weekend when Mother's Day my kids wanted a piece of gum and I pulled out a Fandex from my purse. It's normal, right? But what I mean by that is if you're out shopping and you find an accent pillow that you love, you can hold up a color in the Fandex to that accent pillow and choose which is going to be your closest color in the paint line to get a color match to that. The other thing that I use is if I go to the hardware store, I'll pull these out. This one I pulled out of my purse actually today too. I'll bring home these color cards right here, because if there's a color on here that I like and I know that we don't have it in the paint line, I'll come home and try to mix a color to one of these paint samples that you can get at the hardware store. When I mix paint colors, I have a little black book.
That's what mine is for too.
You know what I mean by little black book. It's all my custom paint color mixes. So this is just a sketchbook that I picked up, and anytime I mix a custom color, I give myself a swatch of it. And that way, if I need to come back at any point and remix that color again, I can match it to my swatch. And we're going to do just that tonight. So I'm going to start with this one here. This is a color that I like to mix a lot. It's mixed with Dixie Belle Aubergine, Muscadine Wine, and Tea Rose. Okay, so we're going to mix a little bit of colors tonight. And I'm welcoming you guys, if you have some suggestions, if you guys have colors in the Dixie Belle line that you've been curious to mix, I'm going to play with my colors tonight. I have every color in the line and they're all open, and I'm open to mixing them. So if you have any, call them out on the broadcast. I can probably only do a couple customs, but we will try to do some of those too. All right, so the first one I'm going to start with is Dixie Belle Aubergine. And when I'm mixing colors, I will take a little bit of my color. I don't usually measure them, but I will take a little bit of my color. In this case, I'm just going to use a little spatula. And I've got a board here that I kept white so that we can play with custom color mixes on my board. Okay, so this is Dixie Belle Aubergine. It's a pretty dark color. And it's, as far as purples go, it's a purple that leans more to the blues. So we all know that red and blue make purple, right?
Sorry.
Excuse you.
Yeah.
Red and blue make purple. So you can stay in the purple family and it can lean either more red or it can lean more blue. I feel like aubergine is a purple that leans more to the blue side. Are you guys looking down here? Because it looks like you're looking. Okay. I can't tell if you can see what I'm actually doing.
I'm actually not even paying attention to you.
Okay, so if I wanted to make aubergine a more red purple, I'm going to add a little bit of muscadine wine in here. This is roughly a 50-50 mixture. It's not exact because I'm just doing it with my spatula, and I'll work them together. So I normally do this on a paper plate because I'm normally not trying to mix large swatches like this. Okay, and so this is still pretty purple, but that's about a 50-50 mixture of aubergine and muscadine wine. So if I compare that to my custom color mix, it's still a little bit different. And the difference is because I add a little bit of Dixie Belle Tea Rose to it. So if I take this same mixture of aubergine and muscadine wine, over here. I'm actually going to mix a little bit more just so I have more to play with. What is that? Wrong color. Okay, it may be slightly off because I'm just eyeballing this, but I'm going to say it's roughly a 50-50 mixture. Okay, and then if I want to lighten that up a little bit, I can take a little bit of my tea rose, and this is going to make it more of a mauve color. So here I've got already two colors that don't exist in the Dixie Belle line that I just custom mixed. And then if I've got a swatch, what I'll do is I will take my swatch book and I'll take the color that I mix and I touch it to my swatch book. Okay, so let me show you guys up close. So this is the color I just mixed with those three colors up against my swatch.
Okay, okay.
That's my, and so I'll touch it there and then I'll dry it with my heat gun or something, and that will tell me if I just mixed exactly that color or at least close enough that you visually cannot tell a difference. So this gets me kind of a mauve, which is this is muscadine wine, aubergine, and a little bit of tea rose to lighten it up. Get a shop towel.
Can you mix metallic with chalk paint?
Yes, let's mix a metallic tonight. Let's do that. I'll have to go grab one, but I meant to get a metallic out and I don't have one out. We'll mix a good metallic actually. Okay. And then right next to it, I've got just the aubergine and the muscadine wine, which makes this really beautiful. It's like a wine color. It's more red than just aubergine. So that's a good mix right there.
Oh, that caught your attention, Sheila. Oh, yeah.
No, I said, we said the key word, like metallics, and she came running from the next room.
What?
Oh, dang it. Okay. Do me a solid. Let me go grab a metallic. I'll be right back.
Is it time for dad jokes?
Yeah.
That'll get you back.
It's the dad joke hour. Is that gonna open? You know what? I tried to open that one before and I cannot get it. Let's just abandon it.
Can we just abandon ship on that one?
And let's do this.
Let's just throw that out. There we go.
We're just gonna throw away that
Well, you know,
container
get outta
of
here.
barn red, and I'm gonna open a new one. Okay, when you're opening a container of Dixie Belle paint, you guys, it can form a little skin on the top. And it can stick to this little paper lid that comes on the container. I take this off, right? Take it off. Then put your lid back on. When you get a brand new container and you bring it home, take that off. Take out any skin that might form on the top of the paint. Then shake your paint. If you leave that in, it's going to take any skin that's on the top of the paint and it's going to integrate it back into your paint container. So what I wanted to show you is if I take my same color aubergine and I put a brighter red with it. This is barn red. We mixed it with muscadine wine and it stayed really plum. It's going to make a much brighter, still going to stay in the purple family, but it's going to be a brighter version of that mix that we just did with the muscadine wine.
The what?
Muscadine wine. Which is it again?
I don't know.
It's
I
muscadine.
just like to poke fun.
Okay, so this is really pretty too. So that's another version of the same wine color, but it's done with a brighter red, so it's going to brighten the color up a little bit. It's not going to be as muted, as moody, as deep and dark as it is with the muscadine wine.
Very sensitive.
So you can use the different shades of red. You're still going to end up with a purple because purple is red and blue. A lot of mixing comes to thinking about all the color lessons you learn when you're a kid about, you know, yellow and blue make green and red and yellow make orange. Those are very, very, very valuable concepts when you're mixing colors.
All I know is paint makes paint.
Yeah, you definitely make a lot of paint. Okay, so I'm just wiping off my spatula in between. Another one I like to mix is a really rich chartreuse green, like almost a fluorescent green, right? Who's been wanting that color on your dresser? You can admit it.
My hand is not being raised.
So the best chartreuse that I've come across is mixing Dixie Belle Daisy and Tree Frog Green. Tree Frog Green is this super rich green. And when you mix them, because Daisy is a really bright yellow and Tree Frog is a really bright green, you get to this rich chartreuse green color. Okay, that's about as lime as they come. And then what's kind of cool is you can play with it either way. If I mix this and I say, oh, I really wish that was a little more yellow, I can throw a little bit of my yellow and go a little bit back. So there's a range of colors that you can get mixing the same two colors by if you went less than 50%, more than 50%.
So how do you do this if you're mixing not this small of a batch?
So what I usually do is exactly what I showed you with my swatch book, is I will mix a really tiny amount, like what I've got here on this board. I'll mix my tiny amount first, and that'll give me a swatch. And then I can come back and mix it in a larger quantity. So I would make myself a swatch in my book, probably using a paintbrush, not a spatula.
Looks like Logan made that book.
That this is the color that I like, that I decided on, that I want to get to. And I'll let this dry. And then I'll mix it in a larger quantity, and I can come back and I can play with the amounts by touching it to my swatch. So here, this is dry now, and I can tell that my swatch is a little bit off of my original, and you can decide whether it's still okay, that's close enough to the color you wanted, or I would need to add more tea rose. It's still a little too dark in this case. So for the most part, I get pretty close when I come back and remix. But that's my recommendation for if you're trying to match a custom color. So this is my favorite of just a really pretty lime green. Actually, I've got an example of this out here.
I feel like you're just avoiding me.
Kind of.
Okay.
No more than usual, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is exactly that example. This is Tree Frog Green and Daisy that I used together right here. And you can see how bright it gets. You get to those rich chartreuse colors, the yellow and the green together. And then I just added a little more daisy in the center to make a slightly lighter color. So you can make tones of the same colors. And what I mean by that is any color that you mix, if you add white or black to it, it's going to get lighter or darker. All right, so if I take my chartreuse that I just mixed here and I add a little bit of white, I'm going to make that same color just in a lighter version. This is fluff that I'm adding as my white. Okay, so whatever color you've got, if you add white to it, you're going to lighten that color. I'm going to show you the same thing if you add black to it.
So what was that, what's that case that you just brought over here?
These are like, I don't know, you could use them for like essential oils or something. It's just a wooden box. I think is this one empty? No, it's got a frame inside of it. This is the true color. See how bright that is? That's the Tree Frog Green and Daisy. But I thought these were cool for like essential oils. You could put like, I don't know, hair bows or something, or makeup or whatever.
That's what I do.
It's just a wooden box. Kind of cool. Okay, so we added white to our mixture. Let's add a little, let's show you what black does. Black will overpower a color very, very quickly when you're mixing it. So you don't want to take your black and dump it into your container if you're mixing with black. I'm just taking the tiniest bit of black paint, and I can just add it a little bit.
Sheila's trying to speed this up. What happens if you add silver bullet to it? Let's just get there.
I mean, really, what's your question, Sheila? I'm not sure where you're going with this. So that turned, all of a sudden, my chartreuse green turned into an olive green. It's really a pretty color. It would be kind of close to my, I'd still be kind of off there. But that became a pretty olive color just by adding a little bit of black into it. All right, the next one that I like to mix is, I love the color Colonel Mustard, but it's a little bright for me. It's a little bright for me. I gotta tone this one down anytime I use it. And so let me show you how I tone it down. I start by opening the container.
Does it come with a candlestick?
Yes, Colonel Mustard in the library with a candlestick. All right, so there's my Colonel Mustard on its own. It's super pretty, you guys. It's super pretty, but it's a little bright for me. I just like to tone it down a little bit. So I mix Colonel Mustard with a little bit of chocolate. Hershey's.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All right, again, I don't need 50-50. This is going to be much less than a 50-50 mixture, just enough to tone it. I'm not trying to actually change the color of the Colonel Mustard. I still want to stay in the mustard family. I just want to tone it down from this insanely bright yellow, and I'm a little heavy on the chocolate there even. So it can be this back and forth. I'm going to add a little bit more of my kernel mustard, and then I'll put it side by side with the original color. You can see what that chocolate does. It still stays a mustard, but it's more of a curry colored mustard. It's more of a like spicy Dijon.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
you don't like.
There's no
So
way
it's
you're going to be in a
it's
cooking
okay if
show.
you do Jad jokes,
Yeah.
but not me.
You're no Rachel
All right,
Ray.
so there's my kernel mustard with chocolate next to the original color. I'm still in the mustard family, but it's way toned down into, I just think it's more of a kind of vintage looking mustard
It's like
with
a third cousin.
with a little bit of chocolate added.
You're still in the family?
Yeah, it's like your spicy cousin that
Spicy.
everybody talks about at Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice. In hopes that
I
they
mean-
don't show up?
Yeah,
Or just even when they're across the table.
yeah,
No big
because
deal.
then you got to be polite if they show up. All right, let me throw my shop towel away. Let's get another one out. All right, is this fun, you guys? You guys like doing this? I enjoy doing this. All right. I just got out. All right, let's do this one. Okay, so you can take a color, a very simple color concept. This is vintage duck egg. Love vintage duck egg, but I am also a huge fan of muted greens. So if you take vintage duck egg and lemonade, it's going to take that vintage duck egg and turn it into a very muted green color. And I'll add my colors in slowly till I get to what I'm after. And that's just the basic concept of yellow and blue make green. If I keep mixing in that yellow into a blue, I'm going to turn it into a soft green color. It's going to be a very muted shade because I'm mixing with muted shades. And this is what happens when you mix within the silk line. So similar colors in the silk line, similar to vintage duck egg is Serenity. That's those two side by side. And then I would say this is Sandcastle is pretty similar to Lemonade. It's not quite as yellow. Most of the colors in the silk line mix to muted shades because when you mix a muted color with a muted color, you can't get a bright color out of it. So same concept. I'll start with this.
That's right, Libby. Rachel Ray can't mix paint like you.
No way. So, I mean, I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 custom colors here that don't exist in the Dixie Belle line that you can mix from all the different colors in the line. So this would be roughly the same mix, but done with silk paint. So you can mix silk colors with silk colors and the chalk mineral line with the chalk mineral line. So these are the most similar colors in each line together with a I mean, those are pretty similar colors, just mixed with completely different lines of paint.
You know what those will look good with?
Do I want to know? I'm serious.
Silver bullet.
Oh. I feel like you're being influenced by someone.
Not yet.
I did just get out silver bullet, but I don't know
Get
where I put it. Do you see it? I'm not joking here. What the heck? I just got it out.
Hold on, let me get my monocle.
Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you. All right, just for the people in the back who are insisting that we mix some metallics.
Let's do this.
All right, I'll show you a metallic mix that I really like, and that is with silver bullet. You can make like a graphite metallic, but let's talk because mixing metallics is a little bit different. We'll get to some other mixes too. So when you mix the metallics, it's never going to be a 50-50 mix with the regular paint because you will dull the metallic, okay? So when you're mixing the metallics, you're going to be always heavier on your metallic paint, way heavier.
Yep.
You just want to tint.
Here, hold on. This is for Sheila.
Yeah, this is for Sheila.
Let's get on in there.
Okay, that's just silver bullet. This is just silver bullet on its own. Next to my custom green that I mixed, this is Serenity and Sandcastle in the silk line. Okay, so if you mix a little bit of caviar, I mean the tiniest bit because we're just trying to tint our metallics. If you mix it full 50-50, you're going to lose the metallic properties. So this is a little bit of caviar.
Ooh,
and I get into this really pretty graphite metallic.
Get in there.
That's one of my favorite metallic mixes right there. So, but all I did, you guys, I'll show you about how much of the caviar I used. All I did was about, I don't know, that much caviar. I mean, the tiniest amount of paint. It's not a 50-50 mixture. It's just enough to tint when you're mixing metallics. Because I still want to, and I can see it in the light. I don't know if you guys can tell here. But I still want to have that light reflectiveness that you get with metallic paint. And if you overpower it with the flat chalk mineral paint, you lose that reflectiveness in it. So this still has all the metallic qualities because I just used barely any of the paint. So you can mix the metallics, just keep that in mind. You don't want to mix them heavily. All right, another one that I just did is a coral color.
Now we're talking. There was some...
Coral?
No. There was mention as far as throwing some metallic with a little red. So let's do this.
Okay, we can do a little metallic too.
See
We'll try it. I think it's going to turn it, my theory is it'll turn it like a kind of muted pink. But we can try it. Let's see. What red do I think would work with that? I want the least amount of pink possible. It's not going to be a red metallic, you guys. It's going to turn it pink. And that's because you're mixing silver and a red. It's going to dull the red. It's not going to be a true red anymore. But I'm gonna do another mix really quick, and that is to get a coral color. So we have in our line, we have rusty nail, and it is the color of rust. Okay, it's very rust color.
You need to make one called tetanus.
Yeah. So if you want to get it just a rich coral pink, you can add a little bit of flamingo, which on its own, I'll show you flamingo on its own, is pretty bright. So what do these look like if we go somewhere in between rusty nail and flamingo? Makes a really pretty coral pink color. Okay, so this is going to be my custom mix here next to True Flamingo. You can see it, the rusty nail kept it in the coral family, but it dulled it down quite a bit, and it gives me this really pretty coral color. Now I actually have a piece in just this mix right here. I just did this really cute little jewelry box in exactly this mix. It is musical.
Huh?
Okay, so that's using exactly this mix, and I used the Boho Soul transfer on this. Oh my gosh, it's playing music now. Okay, so you can see how if this was in flamingo, that would be a much brighter version, but dulling it with the rusty nail.
Are we mixing and there's music?
Yes, we're now being serenaded by my music.
Let's go. Let's do this.
All right, so you guys wanted to try a red and a metallic? We'll do Silver Bullet. Let me get a little more Silver Bullet down here.
Can't get enough.
Yeah?
Silver Bullet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that Sheila again?
She hasn't said anything yet. I'm trying to beat her to the punch.
Okay. So this is just Silver Bullet again. Let's tint this a little bit with a little bit of red. Here, I have it open, so I'll try a little bit in my rusty nail. I'm just going to
throw some blues on next. Huh?
Blues in the metallic. Blues in the metallic.
It was just a request for blues,
okay.
Nothing about metallic.
I got some cool blues to mix too. All right, that's too much of my rusty nail. I need to get more metallic in there. I'm losing my metallic. It's very pink. It's coral metallic now. This is Silver Bullet and rusty nail. I got to mix it and then I'll spread it out so you guys can see it better on camera. Okay, so it still has metallic properties. It's just a very, it's a pink. It's a pink. It's lighter than rosé is, but it's definitely pink. I think that's what you're going to get anytime you mix the red with the metallic. So here's the thing. There are colors that cannot be mixed. What are your primary colors, you guys? Red, yellow, blue. They're not mixed from anything. They just exist in nature, red, yellow, and blue. You don't mix red, yellow, or blue. You have to mix with them. So if you're trying to achieve a metallic red, you've got to make a metallic red. I don't think you can mix it from anything. I'm going to show you the same Silver Bullet, and I'll mix a little bit of, what's this, Barn Red? We'll put it right next to this one that has rusty nail in it. Sorry, I have 800 containers of paint out on here right now. I'm gonna have to put all this away later, you guys, so I hope you feel bad for me. All right, this is Barn Red, which is a really rich, true red. And I'm gonna take, again, because I'm mixing metallics, I only want a tiny, tiny bit of my paint because I don't want to overtake that metallic color. Reds are a hard color to blend too, because do you know what happens when you blend reds? You have to thin the paint out to get it to mix into the next color. When you thin reds, it turns pink. So reds are a hard color to blend. Black is a hard color to blend because it turns gray. You really can't avoid having a pink or gray in a red mix. That's Silver Bullet and
catching some sheen right there with the
Barn
light.
Red.
Huh?
They're still metallic. They're very much metallic. Look at this. The graphite metallic is starting to dry. That's really pretty. All right, and I do like Silver Bullet with a little bit of vintage duck egg in it. So I'll just go ahead and do that one really quick. I'm going to put it right here with our silver mixes. Can you see this spot okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Silver Bullet. And let's tint it with a little bit of vintage duck egg, which is a blue. It makes it kind of a soft blue pearlescent. Again, very little of my regular paint, much less than I have of the metallic. Keep it heavy on the metallic.
What colors, just random, what colors mix well with gold?
Gold would mix out to be kind of a brown in pretty much anything you put it with. So what color are you trying to get with it? What color are you trying to get to? You either have to start with a color that you want to get to and know what you know, kind of decide what you need to mix to get there, or decide what you're trying to match with it. So this is a little bit of Silver Bullet with vintage duck egg in it. It turns to this really moody kind of gray blue, but it still has the metallic qualities because I used very, very little of my chalk mineral paint. It's very heavy on the metallics. All right, you guys, as for blues, well, I'm going to give you a teal. How about a teal? To the end of my board here. All right, this is a mix I really like. I love the color Palmetto. Okay, Palmetto is a super rich green. It's got a little bit of blue undertones in it, but it's a very rich green. But if you want to get it to a really deep teal, add a little bit of Midnight Sky. And it's going to darken. And this color is really popular right now. I actually have a piece coming up that I'm going to do with this mix on. You get it all mixed up, and then I'll get it wiped out to a sample. Okay, so Midnight Sky leans a little bit blue, and then obviously the Palmetto is really green, so you end up with this really deep, rich teal. I added a little bit more, and you can decide if you want to go heavier on the Palmetto and keep it more towards the green, or do you like the richness of the blue tones in it? That's a gorgeous color. So if I take a similar combination, get some stuff out of my way.
I'll leave.
Okay, yeah. Finally. Good Lord, what took so long? Okay, similar combination would be if I took Palmetto, and this time I'm going to add some antebellum blue. I'm going to get a really rich teal.
Can I take you back a second?
What do we have in memory lane? That one there is a Silver Bullet and Caviar, and we tinted the Silver Bullet with a little bit of Caviar to make it into a graphite metallic. Okay, so this one here is a really pretty rich teal, but this is Palmetto and antebellum blue. So you can see the difference with the Midnight Sky versus antebellum blue. Same color of Palmetto we mixed them with.
Oh, I'm going to throw a good one at you.
Okay.
Well, not good for my pocketbook. Tiffany blue.
Okay, so vintage duck egg, well, let's see. Tiffany blue could be, I think the hard thing I see about Tiffany blue is a lot of people see it as a different color. So I would say probably the Gulf. And maybe I need to look at a picture of it. The Gulf on its own is pretty close. Man, I have a Tiffany's box. Where is it? I feel like I need to see a picture of that color. What would I add to I would start with the Gulf. Is it a little bit darker?
Is it that one in your room on the jewelry box?
No. This is a little bit of antebellum. I'm going to see if I make it a little bit darker. I'm going by memory here, guys. It's been a long time since I've been to a Tiffany's, that's for sure. No fingers pointed at anyone, though. So that made it a little bit richer, but then I kind of feel like it needs a little bit of yellow. So this is Daisy. I don't want to turn it green, but I want to get to that, I don't know, I may be way off. I feel like I need to look at it. I think the Gulf is the closest on its own. I don't know, there's a lot of green in there. That's pretty. That's a pretty color though. Am I way off, guys?
I know I'm doing something right if you don't know exactly what it looks like.
I feel like I need to look at the color. So even I had today a retailer ask me for a color mix, and the way she described it was, how did she say it? A dusty green. And I feel like sometimes what someone's version of dusty green is different than what my version is. She sent me a picture and I sent her a mix like that because as soon as I saw the picture, I could pull apart the undertones from the colors. Oh, that's what you mean by dusty. I don't know, that might be pretty close. I wish I could have my Tiffany's box to show you. The other thing I like to think about when I'm blending colors, so there's a difference between a blend and a mix. These are all mixes. I've taken the colors and I've stirred them together. They're mixed together. A blend is when I'm just working the colors softly together in a transition. Okay, but you can still see the original colors on their own. When you are blending colors, you have to be aware of their undertones. So when I take, this is Gravel Road, and I'm going to use Gravel Road as my example because it has really strong undertones. It's going to surprise you. It's a gray, but when you thin Gravel Road out, I'm going to use some water, it turns really brown. There's a lot of brown, I have blue on my spatula. There's a lot of brown undertones in Gravel Road. So if you want to see what the undertones of a color are, thin it out. And then I can start seeing up against the white background, when this is thinned, there's a lot of brown in that color. Let's put it next to chocolate so you can kind of compare the two. And that might not be something you see when it's full Gravel Road, but when you're blending, you have to thin the colors out. Okay, so if I put it next to a brown, you can really see all of the brown tones that are in Gravel Road. It starts turning brown when you thin it out. So I would consider Gravel Road to be a warm gray. Warm gray means it's got those yellowy warm tones in it. Warm tones, you can think of the fall colors. Think of red, orange, yellow. Those are your warm colors. Cool colors are going to be green, blue, purple. So when you're blending, it usually helps to stay in the same area. You either stay in your warm tones or your cool tones. I'm going to just show you another. Let's mix another combo with silk. So one color in the silk line that I think is awesome for mixing is Hampton Olive. This is a mix of Hampton Olive, actually. This isn't the true color. Yeah, that's a mix. Okay, hang on. Let me get true Hampton Olive. All right, so I'm going to mix Deep Sea and Hampton Olive. So Hampton Olive is it's an olivey green. And I'm going to add blue to it, which is deep sea. And it's going to create a muted kind of gray, dusty blue color. All of the tones in the silk line are very Hampton inspired, very dusty, muted tones. They're muted tones. So anything you mix them to is also going to be a muted tone. There's no combo I can mix in the silk line and get bright colors out of it. I'm going to show you what I mean by muted tones in a minute. Alright, so this is Hampton Olive and Deep Sea together. And I'm going to show you next to the true colors. There's my Hampton Olive. There's Deep Sea. And then you can see the combo of them below. Alright, so I have this huge Fandex. This is from a hardware store brand of paint. And it's literally thousands of colors. But I think this is awesome. This helps me a lot because it will tell you neutrals. And then I can see ideas. Okay, neutrals can be light blues, light greens are all considered neutrals. They're saturated colors, they're bright colors, are these brights. I can't mix these bright colors from these muted shades. I couldn't get here. Muted shades are these lighter tones here. So when you're looking at colors at a hardware store in their paint chips, you can see that this is the true color, and then every stage adds a little bit of white. They're just lightening the same color on here. It's a little bit of white on each one. And that's how you get a full range of the color. Is add a little bit of white to it each time, and you're going to keep lightening it up. I use this thing a ton. Alright, what else did I have out here? Collard greens. In the navy is another color that has really strong undertones. When you thin out in the navy, it gets really purple. So let's thin out some in the navy.
I should tell people that your purse is so big that you have to check it when you fly.
What do they think, that Fandex in my purse too? Okay, so if I thin out in the navy up against this white background, I just scrape it over, I can start seeing purpley undertones in the navy. Even though it's a blue, it's got purpley undertones. So if you're not sure what colors make up the color that you're working with, thin it out a little bit and you're going to start seeing other tones in there. And that's going to help you determine the undertones. So has anybody called out any mixes? I got a few minutes that we could try anything. Do you guys have any mixes you wanted to try? Any two color combo? What was the most popular? You guys like the metallic mixes? Let's see if I can make like a
Deep Woods Metallic. Juniper.
Okay, that's this one here. That was this mix here, which is Palmetto and Midnight Sky.
Marsh. Juniper.
Okay, so I'm going to take my this is my silver bullet. Let's put a little bit of antebellum blue.
Farmhouse and Collard Greens.
Oh, you want to see Farmhouse and Collard Greens? Who? I saw that one. Who posted that today?
Leanne. Oh, sorry, as far as the question.
Yeah, no. Someone posted that today in one of the groups. I can't remember who it was. You guys want to see that mix? Okay.
Tea Rose and Metallic Wedding Bell.
Sass, do you want to go over to my shelf and get the pink metallic rosé, or I'm sorry, Wedding Bell?
Sure.
Not pink metallic, it's a yellow metallic. Why did I say pink? It's tea rose. Alright, this mix here is a little bit of antebellum blue and silver bullet. I want to try that farmhouse green and collard greens though. Let's try that one. That was a pretty mixture. Alright, I'm working back on my board though. We're running out of space here. Did you find it? No, it's a yellow Wedding Bell. Alright, this is Farmhouse Green, which is a really soft, pale, yellowy green. Like a celery color. Okay, and then if we put a little bit of colored greens in there, I had colored greens out. Here, sorry, okay. So this made it look like kind of an olive color, like a true olive green. First I'm going to stir my paint.
Out of the container.
All right, so this is farmhouse green and collard greens together. Someone posted this in one of the painting groups today on Facebook. It's very close to dried sage or Spanish moss is kind of where it leans. Farmhouse green and collard greens. I'm gonna go help him find wedding bell and the metallics. Yes.
It was buried behind a rock.
So I'm going to show this next to, well, I guess it's more green than.
Can you mix metallics and silk?
No, you would want to mix metallics with the chalk mineral line. You want to mix your metallics within the chalk mineral line. Most of the chalk mineral line colors have a very similar color to silk. So you can still stay within the chalk mineral line and get a similar color out of it. Okay, so this is Spanish moss, and I'm going to put it next to, I guess Spanish moss is more brown. So that's Spanish moss. This here was the mix of farmhouse green and collard greens. All right, tea rose and wedding bell. Let's try that one.
Is color green like a black green?
Color, yeah, it's like an army green. Like it's a deep army green. I don't have a lid on it, so I can't tip it up. There's my lid. Okay, can you see that? It's a deep army green. I like this one with antebellum blue too. All right, let's try wedding bell and tea rose. So wedding bell is a very soft, yellowy ivory metallic. It's not a white, not really a yellow either. It's kind of an ivory metallic. That's just wedding bell right there. If I put a little bit of tea rose in there, again, you don't want to use too much of your regular paint because you'll start losing your metallic sheen. Even if you want the color to be more closer to your chalk mineral line color, if you mix it too much, you're just going to lose the metallic sheen, and then there's no point in mixing metallics, right? So it's a very soft pink, almost a, I don't know, it's much lighter than rosé. It kind of looks like tea rose. It kind of looks like tea rose. So it stayed a soft pink metallic. That was very little of the tea rose. I can still see the metallic properties. It's just a very, very soft version of tea rose. All right, guys, I think I'm about out of time. We got a ton of good color mixes there. Do you guys have a favorite? I don't know. I really like that graphite metallic. The silver bullet with a tiny bit of caviar in it to make that really dark metallic. That's a really pretty color. You know, the barn red metallic is actually, oh no, this was rusty nail metallic. Rusty nail and silver bullet. It was pretty too. All right, guys, I've been on for a long time. We mixed a ton of colors. Do you guys think this was fun? I thought it was kind of fun. What I love about the Dixie Belle line is we have 69 colors, plus the metallics, plus the silk line, but the amount of colors that you can get out of mixing is endless. It really is endless. So we're very fortunate there. So if you guys liked any of the mixes that we did tonight, You guys can use the link above in the post to find anything we used tonight, and you can also use that to find a retailer if you want to go in and shop any of these colors in person. But I hope that was kind of fun. I have a lot of paint to pick up. Thank you guys for being engaged and asking questions and giving me some good colors to try. I hope it was fun. I'd like to do this again, so if you guys ever have mixes, we can definitely make a list and try this again too. I will let you guys go. I have a video coming out on my YouTube channel tomorrow using Crackle, which is a really cool finish. So if you guys aren't already, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. New video comes out every week, and this week we're using Crackle. You guys can find me at Brush by Brandy on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm going to let you guys go. I'll see you guys here next Thursday.